What's up, folks? How's it going? Been a little while, so I'd like to thank anybody who's still watching these. I still get subscriptions, so there must be someone. So to all 5 of you, hello. I have decided to make this video today because the recent news over Syria is just blown my mind. And the fact that I haven't heard a single person in media speaking the opinions that I have, or even similar to them. And I know there's got to be one of the 5 of you may end up agreeing with me. I don't know. So as we all know, Syria is alleged to have used chemical weapons. We've taken the stance this is a violation of chemical weapons bans and just a general violation of human rights and humanity. And then just the basic argument is that Assad's a dick. And, maybe in some ways we're trying to make up for our inaction in the beginning of this by taking a stance on the chemical weapons. I don't know. I can't speak to those personal motivations, but pretty generally we've decided that, or the U.S. government has decided that the president has decided that Assad has violated various mandates and should be punished for it. Now, on the other side of this argument, we have young Mr. Assad, who I'm sure is just a very bright man, and his closest allies, some of the most esteemed nations on the planet, such as Iran, good friends of ours, China. I've heard good things about their paints. Russia, led by apparently the newest superstar around the world, the newest celebrity that everybody wants to talk about. Now the biggest seems to be he wants to be the biggest name in politics, and that's Vladimir Putin, my boy Vladdy. Which partially it's the reaction and the treatment of Vladimir Putin that has inspired this video, because it's just so far beyond anything I could possibly imagine how people are just fucking climbing all over each other to be the first one to stand up and say, I love Putin, he makes some really good points, he's really a nice guy. Fucking KGB agent, which I heard mentioned. I was really excited because I was looking at Fox earlier, and some dude came on, and he's like, one of these people is surely involved in he was in the KGB, he was surely involved in torture and imprisonment and intimidation and all this, which is most likely true. You don't get to be a high-ranking member of the KGB for fucking being a Boy Scout. So he says this, and he says the other person is a Nobel Prize laureate, talking about Obama. He's like, but which one looks more like the war criminal right now? Which one looks more like the killer in the last 2 weeks? Blows my mind. So we have 2 sides here. We have the Republicans and the Fox News people and the conservatives and whatever. They're against the intervention for the most part. It seems to me, just because they want to be against anything that Barack Obama is doing at any given time. And the liberals or the Democrats or whatever you want to call it, the people that would normally be on Obama's side in these things, is against it because they believe that this is interventionism. This is, starting a war. We're getting involved in wars. First, I'd like to remind, they keep saying, start a war. There's been a war for 2 years. We're not starting anything. It's not going to be, the United States is not going to be the one that's going to fuck things up there. I don't know if you've watched the video. There's hundreds of hours of footage on YouTube that you can watch that these people post themselves, some by the government, some by the rebels, various rebel groups, whatever, some by just citizens. You can watch it. It's going on. It's not made up, and it doesn't cease to exist because we ignore it. And we got people that are taking because there's this whole group of people that thinks they're Jeffersonians now, and they're like on alliances with or trade with all alliances with none, which is a great idea, right? In 1776. Now, I'm not saying Jefferson is wrong, that we should try to be friendly with other countries and try not to intervene when possible. But see, this is the reason that I had to stop. That I'm not going to ever vote for another libertarian, because I've voted libertarian for every position, with the exception of my representative, not this election, but the election before, and when I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. But every other person I voted for has been a libertarian. I have to distance myself from them. I had to dislike their Facebook page because they've been posting these fucking ridiculous memes, which, by the way, any political organization or something that posts constant memes on Facebook is fucking retarded. It's retarded. Don't unsubscribe from them or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Stop following them. They post something to the effect of like, oh, Pearl Harbor, just a limited airstrike with no boots on the ground, right? And I'm like, whoa, like fucking, it's almost criminal to ignore the differences there. Just to completely, just no subtlety whatsoever. No, like, what are we, fucking kindergartners? It take 5 minutes of reading to understand the differences here. So I can't be a part of anything like that. And I like libertarian standings on domestic policy for the most part, but as far as foreign relations, they seem to just be living in a fucking dream world. Everybody seems to think that it's, 1920s, or it's the interwar periods, or before World War I when we were isolationists. And look what happened when we're isolationists. It does not lead to good things for us. There are worse alternatives to choosing your own battles, because the battles are going to come at you anyway. People seem to just fucking be laboring under the belief that the only reason that the United States has problems is because people think we're arrogant or whatever, and I feel like we kind of have the right to be. I mean, hell, the British, they're still arrogant, and they're not even shit anymore. That's cool. But, nobody's bombing Britain solely because they're arrogant. These are not the reasons that we have problems with other countries. We have problems because there's competitions and resources and different ideologies, different cultures, cause conflict. Like, I just can't. It's almost like you have to teach the entire nation the concept of like political science and military history, because nobody seems to have a fucking clue. And that's just the thing that blows my mind, is that they're not discussing anything about what's going on in Syria. What they're talking about is bullshit. They're talking about a person that I normally agree with, and I think is a funny guy, a smart guy, would be Jon Stewart. And he said something to the effect the other day like, oh, as we move closer towards World War III. What World War III? Who's going to start World War III? It's not going to be us. It's not going to be us bombing Russia or us bombing China or something. It'll be them. They're the ones threatening the planet with global war. If that's really what's going on here. If anybody's pushing the idea that this is going to lead to a larger conflict, it's the Russians and the Chinese, as an attempt to scare us into not doing what I think is morally right. And that's just shocking, because I'm nowhere near the biggest bleeding heart on the entire planet. But goddamn it, he's killing thousands. He's been killing thousands of innocent people for years. Assad is the one that started this. Don't forget. And this shit just blows my mind. They talk about World War III because Russia sends a couple of ships. China sends a couple of ships. What are they going to do? Are they really they're going to shoot at our aircraft carriers? Is that what they're going to do? They're not going to do that. There's no fucking way. Suicidal. I'd be willing to bet anything. And if they did, they would be wiped out. It'd be over. They're not going to fucking... China, is definitely not going to go to war with us, because our economies are so fucking intertwined and interconnected. They need us and we need them to some extent. And the only reason Russia would do it is just to be dicks, which they've proven that they're dicks. That's the foreign policy of the Russian Federation, is to be dicks. Look at the polls. The people in Russia want to return, not all of them, but a fair number seem to have this nostalgia for Cold War and for the USSR. It's because they felt powerful then. A lot of the people that want this are young people that are not old enough to remember all the shit they did that Vladimir Putin, by the way, was a part of. This would be like if a former high-ranking officer in the SS was the president of Germany, and then people would rightfully say, like, oh, don't you think maybe his opinions might be skewed by that experience? Nobody even fucking talks about it. And we're eating up his shit. That's what's really sad. They're eating up his bullshit. Now, Putin is entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I believe I featured a video on my channel that was a recording of him responding to some French reporter, okay? But that doesn't mean that I fucking don't realize that he's an incredibly dangerous human being that's trying to take away civil rights in his country. He's making these laws against homosexuals. That the people that are watching this channel, you should be the people that are for life, human freedom, and stuff like this. And this is not what Putin or China or Iran is about. The only people that are on Assad's side, not the ones that are not willing to commit to us, but I'm talking about the ones that are on his side, are the most despotic regimes in the world, maybe in the history of the world, some of them. And Russia is trying to fucking push us around to make themselves look better. That's what this is. And we seem to forget that Assad is violating, he's firing across the border several times, killed several Turkish citizens. These are our allies. These are our NATO allies. Do we not give a shit about these people? I mean, I at least ask you to be intellectually consistent. Because if you're going to fucking say, you know, I care about people or whatever, and then say then say, you know what, I don't give a shit what he does to the people in his country. Say that. Say you don't care what happens to these people. Because then at least you would be consistent. You can't hold both positions. You can't say, I'm for helping people and I'm for great things, but also I'm against doing anything ever. You can't be both those things. And you have to recognize that Russia is basically a fucking mob state. The rule of law means nothing there. The only rule of law that means anything is what Putin and the people in his government say means anything. They're trying to put people in jail for just talking about homosexuality. He put those fucking stupid-ass singers in jail for making fun of them. For fucking making fun of them. Well, and then actually, I'm sorry, it was for blasphemy, right? Because they did something in a church or something. This coming from Putin, who is a member of the KGB, who at least officially for his entire career would have had to have been an atheist. You're telling me, like, what the fuck is this shit? And then Putin in his goddamn letter yesterday, which he has the fucking balls to write this shit on September 11th, about how, oh, American exceptionalism is bad. You know, America might not, you could make arguments, okay, that some places you might have a better quality of life, or maybe you'd be more free or something like that. You can make an argument that maybe the UK is a better place, or maybe Germany or Canada or Australia or something like this. Certainly not fucking Russia or China or Iran or Syria now or even before, when this asshole and his father is fucking been tyrannizing these people for years. This shit just blows my mind. And he also says, he's talking about how, basically, warning us, okay. He says the Pope is against our intervention. I can give a fuck what that fucking pederast thinks about a goddamn thing. Look at the people that are against punishing this asshole for doing something that's against the law. And don't you think it's wrong to gas the civilians? I think it's wrong to bomb them too, on purpose. I'm not saying, I think we should have intervened maybe earlier, or maybe as soon as we saw that he wasn't going to be easily taken down by the opposition. It's not a good idea to have this man around. And, people say, one of the arguments to not be involved is, what if we accidentally, topple Assad, and then what happens then? Well, I don't know what happens then. There's like a 50-50 chance that maybe the Free Syrian Army or some secularist people will take over. Maybe Al-Qaeda will take over. But I'll tell you one thing. If Assad wins, there's a 100% chance that Assad wins. There's a 100% chance that there will be tyranny, there will be oppression. It'll be worse now, after all the things that happen, if he actually wins. The reprisals, what he's going to do to these people. Who knows? He's already shown he's willing. He doesn't care. He's willing to kill these people. This fucking asshole could have taken his money He could have taken his fucking stupid ass wife. Isn't she from Britain or something? Take his fucking stupid ass wife, left the country, and gone someplace where they like him, like Russia, take his money, and lived out the rest of his life. And he might even have been able to play it off like he was a good guy. You know, I think fucking Gaddafi should have done the same thing. He should have left. He didn't. He's chosen to take it to this level. He's the one that's chosen to make it a war like this. The people, when they started these protests, were not out there initially with guns and shit. They only reacted when they were bombed from the fucking airplanes, bombing their protesters and shit. I mean, America does some fucked up shit sometimes. Everybody does. Not perfect. That's not the point of American exceptionalism. It's not that we are perfect. It's just the belief that maybe we have some outlook on the world as superior. And I think it is. I think that there's reason to support justice. Does that mean that you march into every country where people are being... I'm not saying we should put troops on the ground. I'm saying that at the very least, use, trillions of dollars of our money has been spent building up this military infrastructure with good reason, because it supports your free trade. It's the thing that allows free and fair trade for our country, at least. We would not be the power as rich as we are now if it weren't for that military might. But if we're going to have all this stuff, can we please use it for something nice one time? Something necessary? Something morally, clearly right? I don't think there's any ambiguity here. All of this is being put in. The only people that are fucking arguing against it from a moral standpoint are the Russians and the Iranians and whatever. And the people here that are against war, I suppose. I don't think that bombing him, I don't think it equates to war. I in no way support troops on the ground. I don't want that at all. So I don't want anybody fucking saying that I said that, because I didn't. I don't know what to tell you. If you believe that we should never, ever, ever do anything in the world unless we're directly attacked, then I think that you're ignorant of history and just the way things work. I think you're ignorant on that. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. I wish there's got to be somebody, and I'm so proud of Obama. This is the first time in his entire presidency that I've been proud of him. He's taken a moral stand, and I hope so much that he is not dissuaded from taking this stand by the propaganda of the Russians. And they're doing that. This is the problem with a liberal, is that he won't counter it. They're not doing a very good job of offering this counterpoint, which is why I have to fucking make this video. If even 50, 10, 15, 20, 50 people see this, at least somebody will have heard a counter fucking point to this. So I'm glad he's taking a stand. I really want people to be consistent, okay? Admit that you don't care what happens to the people at all. And, I don't want to see American servicemen killed. I think the odds of that happening are very low, unless, of course, this did start World War III, which it's not fucking going to happen. But, I mean, that's the job they chose, and I think it's a noble thing to use our might to do something nice, do something good. I think it would be the right thing to do to punish this asshole for the shit he's done. I think it's the right thing for everybody to stand up that agree or disagrees with what the news is pumping out, that everybody is against this. If you are not against it, say something. Don't let the fact that you might be a Republican and you don't like Obama shift you on this. It's not about him, okay? It's really not. It's just that this is the American position, I feel, consistently. He's not created it. He said the stupid Kerry saying his shit about how you made that little deal, and now the Russians and the Syria. Because a week ago, the Syrians didn't have any chemical weapons. Remember that? Remember how he was just, Assad is a super cool guy, and the Russians are like, no, he didn't have shit. And now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he's going to give us some weapons. Okay, nobody says anything about that. But how the fuck we're fucking supposed to trust them? Who's gonna oversee this? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You know how he knew that they had the shit? He has the receipts. He's been violating... They violated Turkish airspace to deliver, potentially, weapons to the Syrian government. These are our allies, aren't they? Do we just not give a shit about anything anymore? I don't know. So that was kind of long, but whatever. So thank you to the 5 of you, probably 2 now after 20 minutes that watch this. Have fun, don't die.